Revolutionary greetings, comrades. Is the CCC Citizens Coalition for Change, as led by Nelson Chamisa, going to boycott the August 23rd elections following the High Court judgment that blocked or barred its 12 MP candidates from contesting? It's a question that has been asked on social media. There are some that suggest that CCC or Nelson Chamisa in particular, in solidarity with the candidates in Bulawayo, they should boycott the elections and create conditions for a proper dialogue that will result in the reformation of the electoral laws, something which CCC and others have been calling for over the years when they were MTCing. But we do not think that this is going to happen. We do not think that CCC is going to boycott elections following the judgment in Bulawayo. In fact, CCC has faith in the judiciary system in Zimbabwe. After the High Court judgment in Bulawayo, they issued a statement that they are going to appeal the judgment. You cannot appeal the judgment if you do not have faith in the judiciary system. Now, the interesting part is that in terms of the timetable or the calendar of the Supreme Court of Zimbabwe, on the 29th of July, it is going on recess up to September. So CCC has to file their appeal before the court goes into recess for up to September. This means, therefore, that if they manage to file their appeal, say today, the 28th of July, it means that that on its own will then suspend the judgment of the High Court, meaning that by simple filing the appeal papers, CCC candidates and others that were disqualified in Bulawayo, their names are going to be on the voters' roll. Because if you appeal to the higher court, the judgment by the lower court, which in this case is the High Court, gets suspended, or its implementation gets suspended. So by the time the court gets back to work in September, it will be way after elections. Assuming that the CCC candidates would have won on the 23rd of August elections. If the Supreme Court were then to uphold in September the judgment of the High Court, it will then mean that the 12 CCC candidates, if all of them they were to win, they will then be disqualified only in September, which will then call for the by-elections, which by-elections they will then participate. Because the issue at hand is not that they are not competent enough to be elected as public representatives, the said individuals. But the issue is that the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, it is alleged that it erred in accepting their nomination papers because nomination papers were submitted late. That's an allegation, which of course CCC is disputing, and the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission is disputing, saying their papers were filed in time. Were told that by 1550 hours, papers were in court. So if then CCC appeals the judgment in the Supreme Court, file their papers today, we expect that the implementation of the judgment is going to be suspended pending the Supreme Court sitting. I'm not a legal person. I do not think that if they file their papers today, the Supreme Court will meet it today before it goes on recess and then it deliberate on the matter on urgent basis. I'm not very sure if that were to happen. So CCC therefore believes that they are going to contest the elections. Their candidates in Bulawayo are going to be allowed to contest the elections. That on its own, as I've said, that they faith in the judiciary system in Zimbabwe, in that their members are going to be are allowed to contest. Hence, they will not take the political route, which is being suggested by some on social media to say, in solidarity with the candidates in Bulawayo, CCC should boycott elections, but begin a process of what we'll call civil disobedience to try and discredit elections, and forcing SADC at the very least to convene an emergency summit to discuss Zimbabwe. In other words, getting Zimbabwe back into the SADC agenda. You'll recall that in 2007, when the leaders of the MDC were going for a public prayer, which the police said it was not authorized, they were brutalized by the police, thrown into prison. It forced the SADC to convene an emergency summit in Tanzania to discuss the Zimbabwe question. It was from that point that Zimbabwe remained in the agenda for SADC until the inclusive government was established. And even when during the inclusive government had been operational, SADC was very much hands-on on what was happening in Zimbabwe. You'll recall even the SADC summit in Maputo in 2013 discussing the issue of elections, where it was put to the MDCs whether in their view it was correct for them to participate or not to participate in the 2013 elections. Now the rest, as they say, is a history. The MDCs participated, and as I say, it is now history. So by taking the political route, if CCC were to take the political route and say, in solidarity with our candidates in Bulawayo, we are withdrawing from the election, we are initiating a political process of discrediting the elections, because the issue here is that the body that is mandated to run the elections says the candidates submitted their papers in time, right? The court disagrees. Now the question is, if ZEC is discredited by the court, to an extent that it is said that it erred in accepting nomination papers from some candidates, mainly from CCC, then the same ZEC is to run the elections. So that on its own becomes problematic. So the political route would be to say, as others are calling for it, boycott the elections, embark on a political process which will discredit the 23rd elections, 23rd August elections, force dialogue with everyone involved, including civil society. At the center of the agenda is the question of the Constitution of Zimbabwe, the electoral laws as well, to say, how do you run a free and a fair election? So it's an opportunity that is presented to CCC to say, embark on a political process. But as I'm saying, this is not going to happen because CCC has faith in the judiciary system in Zimbabwe. When you hear them saying the courts are captured, this is not what they mean. They believe that certain judges, as we'll be discussing shortly, the Gasquere case, which is some few minutes away to be delivered in Harare, were told the judge, it is alleged that the judge that delivered the judgment, barring Xavier Gasquere from contesting, after the judgment, he bought a mansion in Harare. So the CCC believes that there are certain judges that, particularly in the Supreme Court, that will rule not necessarily in their favor, that the judges will be objective, right? And they look into the papers, as argued by Zach, that as argued by Zach, that candidates submitted in time. Hence, Zach had to announce them as duly nominated. So CCC believes that the judge in the High Court who had the case might have been threatened, or the judgment might not have been written by him. This is why he did not even deliver the judgment and asked their colleague to deliver the judgment. But they believe that the Supreme Court will be objective, will not enter the political fray, as it were. So hence, CCC will not embark on a political process to discredit the elections, but it has faith in the judiciary system, and it calls on all its members, particularly the candidates, to continue preparing for the 23rd August elections. So on the part of Citizens Coalitions for Change, the issue of boycotting elections is not on the agenda. Yes, Nelson Chamisa might have been quoted saying, we might. When you say we might, you are not sure of what you are saying. And your supporters are not sure of what you are saying. We might boycott, we might continue with the elections, but as things stands now, at this very moment, CCC is going to continue with their political campaign, preparing for the August 23rd elections, which they believe they are going to win. Please share your views in the comment section. I am Mabuto Nicholas Mabena. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you are on TikTok, please follow us. Amanda Comrades.